Hey, everyone, and welcome back to Pivot Point, the podcast where we dive into the real stories behind growth, resilience, and reinvention. I'm your host, Corey Finney, and I'm pumped you're here. Today, we're talking about something most of us literally stand on but rarely think about: flooring. Not just any floors, sleek, durable, low maintenance epoxy floors. Joining me is James Stanford, the founder of Ox Epoxy, a new Calgary based startup that's just getting off the ground, but with a clear mission: make professional, high quality epoxy flooring more accessible to homeowners and small businesses alike. If you've ever dreamed of a garage that looks like it belongs in a car commercial or wondered what it takes to launch a service based business from scratch, then this podcast is for you. James, welcome to the Pivot Point. It's great to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Super. Well, hey, before we talk business, I'd like to get to know the person a little behind the brand. I understand something unique about you is that you're an aquaponics enthusiast. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've got a garden out back that basically I didn't want to have to water the garden, so you can put the plants into a pot and put it into a pond basically. And then you just keep the pond full and that's it. You just let the plants grow.
So, but there's fish in the pond too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a whole
Yeah,
ecosystem.
we made a little pond out of it. We put some fish in, got a bit of a waterfall back there. Just made it look nice. The first year was just basically pots in a pond, and yeah, we've been improving it
Well,
as the years go by.
that's really cool. I understand aquaponics. They use the fish waste feeds the plants. It's kind of cool. Well, anyway,
Yeah, that's right.
let's take it back to the beginning, back to business here. Starting from scratch is never a small thing. What made you decide to launch Ox Epoxy, and why now?
It's a good question. We were watching a podcast, and we saw a business down in the States that does epoxy flooring, and they're having some really good success with it. So we started looking around here in Calgary and saw that we had a local distributor. So we reached out to them. They have like a training class course that you can go through. So, yeah, we messaged them, got enrolled in the course, and got trained up in it and started doing it.
Well, that's really cool. Like, did this idea come from past experience in the trades, or noticing a gap, like in with a customer in particular, or a need, or just that YouTube video you saw made it look like a good opportunity?
Yeah, I'd say it was mostly the podcast that we watched, got us inspired to get into it. We didn't have any prior experience, so I guess it's just, I guess I I think it looks good, so I guess there's the appeal, that appeal to it.
Excellent. Yeah, it is. It
But
is
yeah,
a
other than
very
that,
it's a very amazing floor finish, that's for sure. So once you committed, what was the first steps you took? Like researching suppliers, watching installs, buying gear. Tell us about that.
yeah, the first step we took is, like I say, watching the podcast. We started looking around for suppliers and found a local one. It's with Extreme Polishing Solutions. So they just, well, they started down in Florida a few years ago, and they've been rapidly expanding throughout the US and into Canada. So they just have two storefronts in Canada right now. One's in Calgary, one's in Toronto. So we are lucky to have a distributor right here in Calgary.
Yeah, that's excellent to have them right
And
here in the
yeah,
backyard.
yeah, for sure. Because we looked online and saw that they have a training course in it, and it was a week-long course. So we messaged them, got signed up in the course, and got the training done.
So
And it was really good
that's
training,
interesting.
hands-on.
That's interesting that they've got an actual a distributor has an actual training course. So somebody green as grass can come into the industry and learn it, and they teach them how to do it so they can sell them and supply them the products. That's a great model.
Yeah, that's right.
What kind of response have you gotten so far from friends and family and your network in general?
So we haven't really advertised or promoted to friends and family. We've been predominantly advertising on Facebook, doing interrupted Facebook ads.
Okay. We'll get back to
The
that.
response, I think, has been pretty good.
Excellent. What's one piece of advice you got early on that stuck with you when you're building your business?
That's a good question. I think sales and marketing is the hard part, or at least hard part for us.
Okay.
Yeah, some advice. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's all right.
Yeah, no, I
How
have to think
about
about
this?
that
For someone who's never heard of epoxy flooring or who thinks it's just for auto shops, what is Ox Epoxy going to offer? Like, how would
one.
you
Sure.
go ahead?
Yeah, like one client got it done because his concrete was chipping away and starting to degrade, just from the salt that gets brought into his garage for in the winter. So he wanted something that would protect, like he wanted to fix his concrete and get something that would protect it, and that's what epoxy does. Um, you can get a lot of people get the flake garage floor, which looks nice. You can also get like a marbled effect or a granite effect into the epoxy. So in
Okay.
addition to protecting the concrete, it's also going to look really nice. Some
Excellent.
people are getting it done in like showrooms, um, like warehouses, commercial spaces can get it done, and they get anti-slip put in. So if you have a slippery concrete floor, you can get epoxy and then the anti-slip, and it's going to make it so it's a lot less slippery.
Okay. Well, that
So
was my
those
next
would be some of the
question.
big advantages.
I was going to ask about the spaces that you're planning to focus on and where you see your biggest market, like garages, basements, commercial. What do you think? What do you see? Pardon me.
Yeah, I see starting with garages, and as we build into it, going into commercial spaces, large warehouses, um, even like storefronts, commercial storefronts. You can get really artistic designs done, and so they would want you can get like a metallic look to it, to the marbled effect, and
Oh, okay.
it looks really good.
Cool. So do you have like a menu, like a set menu of finishes or coatings that you offer your customers?
Yeah, I do. We got a brochure made up of all the different surfaces and what they look like. And so we get that brochure sent to the clients. They can take a look, choose what style they want, what color they want, and then we make it happen for them.
Cool. Let me ask, what kind of experience are you looking to create for your clients, like from the first call to the final result? What's your goal?
Yeah, we want to have a good client experience. Um, I guess like quick contact is a big thing. Um, Following up with any questions they have. Yeah, we want to have a good client experience.
Excellent. And are there companies in the space that you have discovered that you particularly admire, or any that you want to differentiate yourself from? Like, how are you going to stand out in the industry? What are your plans there?
Yeah, I would say our distributor is actually really good. We actually got to meet the founder of the company when we did the training. We think that the guy who has the distribution here in Calgary is friends with the founder. So we actually got to meet him, we don't think everyone gets that. We think that we got a special thing there. And yeah, the founder of the Extreme Polishing Solutions, he's just a really good guy. I don't know, he's just provides a good client experience. It's kind of hard to describe, but yeah, so he'd be the one that we'd want to emulate, I guess.
There you go. So it's good having that connection with somebody as successful as the founder of your distributorship, and a mentor to follow. Um, well, let's get real. Launching a business when you haven't done your first job yet. I know you're a complete startup. Um, you must feel like you're running uphill. What has been your biggest challenge so far in getting Ox Epoxy off the ground?
Well, when we did the training, we met other people in the class. Now, some of them were, they did concrete and they're adding epoxy into their list of services. So we've actually been able to go out and work on some jobs with them. I'd say our biggest challenge is, yeah, just doing the sales. We've gotten quite a few leads, but managing leads, I find if you respond immediately when a lead comes in, like it's just off the chart how much difference it is between the response rate. And if you even wait, I don't know, an hour or more, the response rate just drops right off.
Okay.
So
the speed
yeah,
to
responding to leads.
connecting with your inquiries is the key there. How are you approaching your marketing right now? I mean, you're using social media, referrals, knocking doors, SEO on a website. What's your marketing strategy right now?
Yeah, what we find is people don't really know what to search for as far as like SEO and doing Google ads. So Facebook ads are definitely the most effective. We want to expand into YouTube ads. And we've got a door-to-door salesman lined up. We just have to get him out knocking. We've talked about it. He said he wants to do it. And so we're going to be lining up a door-to-door salesman
Excellent.
hopefully pretty soon here.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And you mentioned in
Yeah.
your marketing now, the biggest challenge is your speed to responding. How are those leads coming in, and how are you communicating with the homeowner when they do come in?
Yeah, so the leads are coming in on Facebook Messenger or through a Facebook lead form. And we're manually, we basically have to be there if to respond immediately. We're doing it manually, so we have to be there when the lead comes in and then respond to them,
So
just manually.
so are you running like paid Facebook ads with a marketing budget, or are you doing Facebook Marketplace where you're posting a commercial ad in the Marketplace section of Facebook? Or what are you doing there?
Yeah, we're doing both the Messenger and, both the Marketplace and the paid leads.
What's been working better for you?
I'd say they're both about equal in volume. And then Facebook Marketplace has a lower cost to acquire a client, like a lower lead acquisition,
Okay.
lower lead
Okay.
cost.
Are there any parts
So,
of the business so far that you know quoting, pricing, scheduling that have you feeling fuzzy just because you haven't tested it yet? Like, are you still kind of uncertain about any specific part of the business, or was the training sufficient that you're pretty confident in all that?
the training was pretty sufficient. They went over, in addition to doing the training on how to apply the epoxy, they also went over some business training. So they went over quoting, they went over marketing. They're pretty comprehensive in what they did. So it was a pretty good training, actually.
Excellent. And do you feel like you ever feel stuck between learning the trade and growing the business at the same time? I mean, you essentially, as an entrepreneur, and I've been there in several businesses, you're wearing many hats at the same time.
Ah, yeah, well, I started the business with my nephew, so that makes a big difference. He can go out and he's going to be going out doing the jobs, and I'm going to be in the office, basically doing sales and office work. So being able
I
to split it with those two, uh, that makes a big difference. If it was only me, then yeah, it'd be tough to break out of that. Yeah, like what you're talking about, wearing too many hats. You focus on getting the job done, then you can't focus on marketing, and then you don't have any jobs lined up, and you kind of it's a vicious cycle,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
or a hard
Yep.
cycle to break out of. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's great that you've got a partner to work with there. Has anything made you second guess the path, or conversely made you double down and go harder so far? Like, have you had any trigger that's been a light bulb and like, yeah, we're going all in on that?
Um, yeah, when we were first looking at it, like the podcast that we watched that got us into it was a real light bulb to go in on it. Now that we're into it, yeah, just lining up contracts, we've found to be kind of hard. We thought it'd be a little bit easier, I guess. We thought we'd be uh, a bit easier to line up contracts.
You thought you'd be a little further down the path by now?
Yes, yeah.
Now you've just
Yeah, we've
started
gone out and
recently,
done a
right?
few quotes, but
When did you do your training? A few weeks ago?
it's been like 3 weeks. Yeah,
Okay.
3 weeks. The training was a week, so we've been at it for like 2 weeks.
That's not unreasonable. I mean, I've started many businesses and it takes time. It always takes twice as long as you think and costs three times more. So it's like building a house,
Yeah.
building a business. Well, let's imagine you've done a few jobs and you're really starting to get some momentum. What does the next phase of growth look like for you? Are you I mean, do you see that Calgary is a big enough market? You're going to stay focused in Calgary, or do you guys have a vision to go bigger than that? Like, what's the plan for Ox Epoxy?
Yeah, my plan would be to do Calgary and the surrounding area. Um, would we want to branch out to other cities? Probably not. I think we could get at least 2 to 3 crews running just in Calgary, and I'd probably be happy at that.
So
You
two
get
to
too big
three,
and it's too hard to manage.
2 to 3 crews is kind of your target.
Yeah, that's right.
And have you thought about any partnerships with maybe contractors, realtors, or renovation pros at all?
Yes, we have. It's just a
What
matter of
response
finding them
been
and lining it up.
Okay, so you haven't reached out to them yet.
No, not yet.
What's the version of Ox Epoxy that excites you the most? I mean, even if it's a year or two out, like what does that dream business look like for James Stanford?
Um, yeah, I haven't thought that far out. The dream is to be mostly out of the business and have employees running all the systems. So I think I'd want to get to that point.
Be an
Um,
unshackled owner. A friend of mine
yeah,
wrote the
that's
book,
right.
The Unshackled Business Owner, and it's a great book. That's all of our entrepreneurs' goals is to be able to step out of the business and let it run itself. You've been building this business from the ground up, literally and figuratively. What's something you thought would be simple, but turned out to be a lot more complex, or vice versa?
Complex that was simple. No, I'd say something that there's probably two big things. I didn't necessarily think it would be simple, but this we're doing okay with marketing. We're getting quite a few inquiries. Um, I anticipated sales being an issue, and it kind of has been. Uh, and then the other thing is lead management. That was kind of a surprise with how difficult it would be.
What's your
I
challenge
knew
with
that you're
lead?
supposed to.
Yeah,
What's
what's your
that?
challenge with lead management? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so like responding immediately, I knew was a big thing. But like if you respond, I'd say even 10 minutes, like someone's on Facebook and then they're off. And so if you respond immediately, like we have a very high chance to talk with the client and have a conversation and be able to uh, line up either a phone call or a site visit. If you don't catch it immediately, like there's a significant drop in uh, the clients that you get to talk to. And the ones that you do talk to, it's like you're communicating over hours. Like we send them a message, they send a message back, and it happens over hours or days even. So getting on the leads immediately is, I find to be really important. And so just that lead management was something I didn't anticipate until the leads started coming in, to be honest. And then it's like, oh, this is actually a really big deal.
So you'd say that's probably your biggest pain point right now is being able to manage the leads that come in and respond to them quickly. Otherwise, you lose them, or they sounds like they drag out into a long back and forth. So the maybe you need a different type of lead management system other than manually working with Messenger.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, um, anything else that's been a pain point for you in building the business that you can identify?
Not yet. I'm sure when we get employees, they're going to cause all kinds of problems. But right now, it's just me and my nephew doing it, so haven't run into those problems yet.
What advice would you give someone else who's just starting a business? Maybe something that you've learned. I know this is your previous business. You told me offline that you'd purchased. It was already an operating business, but I think you'd started a previous business to that. So you're a seasoned entrepreneur. What advice would you have for someone starting a business?
Man, yeah, just starting into it. I would say have a partner. The loss in, like, I think people might look at it and think they're losing a bunch of money. If you do it half and half, it's like you're only getting half, but it makes a huge difference having a partner there with you.
Any tips
Um,
on on choosing that partner?
uh, no, you don't really know until you get into it. Have weekly meetings. You want to go over stuff before it becomes a problem. Uh,
Yeah, I agree with that. You want to be communicating well with your partners to make sure that you're on the same page for sure.
yeah.
Let's shift over to the homeowner. I mean, what should homeowners, um, you know, what what's important to them? Let's speak to the listener who might be curious about epoxy flooring. What should people know when they're considering it for their home or workspace? I mean, why is epoxy different? What makes it different instead of just paint or concrete sealer? Talk about the benefits there, maybe.
Okay, yeah. So versus painting, it lasts a lot longer. Painting lasts usually 1 to 2 years, whereas epoxy will last, 15 plus. even into the 20-year range. It's a lot more durable and resistant to like chemicals or like abrasions and stuff like that, and also to the salt, car exhaust, stuff like that. I don't know if paint provides any protection, whereas epoxy would. And I'd say probably the looks of it. Epoxy just looks really nice, so.
Yeah, that epoxy floor really looks next level, really, over a paint for sure, or raw concrete. What should people look for in a good provider like yourselves? I mean, um, what what are some of the questions they should ask a contractor? Red flags to look out for, these types of things. You got any tips for our listeners that are looking for epoxy contractor, or because our listeners are all over, not just in Calgary. Obviously, if they're looking for one in Calgary, they're going to call you. But if they're not in Calgary, what should they look for?
Yeah, if they're not in Calgary, the guys that do it for dirt cheap, they're gonna skip doing coats. So you want to have a moisture vapor barrier, you want to have a base coat and a top coat. Cheaper guys could either skip the base coat or the moisture vapor barrier and just do one, and then put the epoxy on that. And then most guys do the top coat. So that makes it less durable. Like, yeah, you definitely want to get, both coats put on. The moisture vapor barrier, you can kind of get away with it, but you kind of don't want to risk it as well. And even if it's not a problem now, it could be a problem in the future if moisture gets into the concrete or something, or underneath it. Yeah, other than that, that's probably the main one, is the main corner that you could cut.
Well,
so make sure that the guys are putting on the proper coats.
Make sure they're not cutting corners and they're putting all three coatings on. Then that's the key to watch out for. I mean, how long should a job take, and like what would be in a realistic budget for your average 2-car garage?
Yeah, so a single car garage would probably take a day. A 2-car garage would probably take 2 days. Yeah, we do billing based on the square foot, so usually it's around $7 to, well, I guess even $6 to $10 a square foot for doing the epoxy flake.
So it varies. That variance would be determining on what kind of finish they're getting, or if they're getting the fancy marbling and that kind of thing. It's going to be more expensive.
Yeah, that's right. Prep work, how good a shape the concrete is in, if they need any repairs done, stuff like that is going to increase the cost. Cracks, going up the sidewall, stuff like that.
All that stuff that's going to be hidden could be a problem if they don't look after that up front, I suspect.
Yes.
And what's one myth or misconception about epoxy that you'd like to bust for our listeners?
Yeah, I don't think there's any myths about it.
Maybe that it's pretty expensive. I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty reasonable at $6 to $10. Sounds pretty reasonable per square foot.
Yeah.
It's a lot less than carpet.
Yeah, that's right. It's probably in the ballpark of like, I don't know, tile hardwood. It's about the same ballpark as any type of flooring. So.
Well, great. Well, James, this has been a really honest and insightful look at what it really takes to launch something from the ground up. For folks that want to follow your journey, and maybe get in early on booking a job, where should they go to find you?
Yeah, go to our website, oxepoxy.com. That's OXEPOXY.com.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we'll link that in the show notes as well. And you mentioned some of the pain points you had around marketing. Let's be sure to follow back up regarding that. One of the things that we help a lot of service industry professionals do is streamline that lead generation and lead management through the use of automation and AI. It sounds like you're pretty much manual and you could benefit from some automation in your business.
Yeah, we definitely could.
So we'll definitely talk about that and see what we can do to help you out there. Well, perfect. If you've enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who's thinking about starting something on their own. It's always great to learn from other entrepreneurs. Subscribe, leave a review, and keep chasing your own pivot. Until next time, I'm your host, Corey Finney, and this is Pivot Point.